almost to the day, actually. I think I figured that it was January was a year for the pond. Generically, I always say everything out here is food or medicine. That doesn't mean you should eat it, because there's things like castor will kill you, but it is medicine. So anything that I hand you, you can eat it. If you think it's the most disgusting thing in the world, spit it on the ground. Don't eat anything you don't know what it is. So don't trust your plant apps, they will kill you. So botany plus a plant app, that's good botanizing then. I don't know, let's go find stuff. I'm gonna try to taste the shade a little bit. That's looking kind of pretty, actually. Let's talk about that. Let's see how fast I can lose my drink. So, yay, goldenrod. Did we talk about goldenrod when you did?
No.
Okay, I was like trying to remember what we saw.
We started there and then we just came around there.
These
Different
are
shade.
goldenrod. These are Florida native. There are a gazillion different species. They're all medicine. So they all can be used. Some have some scent to it. I honestly don't know what species this is. Tastes green.
What kind of medicine you usually use them for? To do what,
So
like
this-
painkillers?
No. So this one is, and you can taste it, but it doesn't taste like much of anything. It's kind of mildly bitter to green. The leaves, flowers, all of it can be used. The aerial parts, the above ground parts, are usually used for diaphoretic, which at least experience for you guys, cold and flu. So very good for respiratory illnesses, sinus problems. It can be used for chronic sinusitis. It's kind of neutral in temperature, and so like it really doesn't matter whether it's like clear drippy faucet or kind of a sticky yellow phlegm. It kind of just helps to clear it up. It's also used for chronic urinary tract infections. Usually we don't use the flowers for that. You use the leaves, or even the roots can be used for chronic urinary tract infections. I've never used it as a painkiller, although I've heard it's very mild, but like making a bath of it, I don't think it'll do much. It's probably more for like, ooh, I overdid it to have sore muscles kind of thing, rather than like, I've got horrible arthritis or I broke my back or something. I don't think this one's a heavy hitter. It's always interesting. The Latin name of this means to make whole again. So it's kind of, this is a neglected herb because it grows everywhere. Very few people use it, and yet it is considered a heavy hitter for those respiratory, urinary tract kind of issues. There's a million one other uses, but those are the like top uses of it that'll really do some good. And remember, any species, I believe all of them have a yellow flower. It's blamed on a lot of chronic allergies. It's not this. It's usually ragweed, not goldenrod, but they usually bloom at the same time up north. So these, it looks like it would cause a pollen allergy. It does not. It is not the guilty party. It's actually a cure for it. Wow, let's be that. One thing I was looking for, I never found it. Let's see what I can find in here. So it's really the end of the season for this guy. I got to be careful sorting through here. There's all kinds of other plants. So, not you, you. So this is Betony, Stachys florida, and it's in the mint family. So here's your botany lesson for the day. I'm going to show you the good part in a second. Although all parts can be used. Wait for the stupid ambulance to go by. Hey, this, you can nibble on it. It doesn't taste like much, but notice the leaf arrangement and the stem, and feel free to nibble a leaf. So Florida betony, rattlesnake root, it has many names. You'll notice it's got a square stem, so when I roll it in my fingers, it's like click, click, click through there. The leaves are opposite of each other. And then when you go up to the next leaf node, they're going in the opposite direction. So they're opposite and alternating. And you can play with that guy. Feel free to snack on him. But the good stuff, it's really the end of the season.
You said mint.
It is in the mint family, but it doesn't have a smell. So it's one of the few mints.
You say you can eat the leaf?
Yeah, you can eat the leaf, but this is the magic. So this is why it's called rattlesnake root.
Yeah.
And personally, one of the most expensive probiotics out there is soil bacteria. So I think it's good to pull a carrot out of the ground or knock the dirt off. And then it's firm like a radish, but sweet like a carrot. If you want good probiotics, use that, but I did wash them off earlier. I like the dirt. This will be out there for about another, and these will get as long as your hand.
Thank you.
Yeah, break them apart, share.
Here.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
So you can
here you go.
Yeah, super good.
delicious.
Oh yeah.
And so this is a Florida native,
Thank you.
and full sun, as long as it's well-drained soil, it can handle a lot of water. This was, I planted one small patch. It's now across the path that way, it spreads. And this one is a yummy snack. Oh, we're gonna have one to talk about. There we go. No, not you. This will be gone another month. I won't find it anymore. So it goes down to the ground, the roots disappear or get mushy, we won't be able to eat them anymore. And then usually maybe November they'll start to sprout. They'll get these beautiful little blue flowers on it, but the roots don't form until about probably April 1st is about as soon as you'll get those. It's funny, in Europe they once said, in the 1600s, they said, sell your coat and buy Bethany. This was more important than a winter coat in the middle of Europe. And they do kind of look at it, it's slightly drying the leaves, slightly cooling, and they used it for everything from chronic headaches, but not, ooh, I've got a headache, let me go find some Bethany. It was taken every day for like a month, for about 3 to 4 months, and your headaches stop coming. And so it's not a, ooh, let me give relief. This isn't an aspirin. It's actually something that fixes it. It's particularly good when stress is the cause of your headaches, menstrual pain, it's good for the headaches, Chinese folks, liver.
What is that called?
Bethany, Florida Bethany or rattlesnake root. The fancy Latin name is Stachys floridata. It's always an interesting thing. So we can use it for stress. It's a good, safe, long-term herb. You're just like, I'm always stressed out, whatever. But we always talk about like, oh, we need more grounding, I don't feel grounded, those kinds of terms. Digging the roots is actually a great way to find yourself grounded. This is good for, I've actually used this for seizure disorders. I've used it for Tourette's syndrome. And by itself, it's not going to cure it, but it helps to manage it, and it's free because it's in your yard probably. And it's used for, it's always an interesting idea. When you're a little kid, it's like okay to have an invisible friend. But all of a sudden you're like 25 and you start talking to somebody next to you that nobody else sees. Now they're going to medicate you, right? There's almost 10 people here. 1 in 10 people see or hear things that I don't see and hear. And so we medicate those. If we went back 2,000 years, we'd call them seeing God or whatever, right? And so this makes it so people don't see and hear things. And obviously that can be dangerous. People are like, as long as it's not causing them to hurt themselves or other people. But most people, when they start to hit their teens, find out it's not okay to talk about those things in public, so they just hide it. There's lots of people walking around seeing and hearing things. Some of them become talking about the future and things like that. They make a trade of it. So we have to be careful who we feed this to in larger amounts, because they might be making a profession out of what those voices tell them, in which case you just ruin their job, right? So even though it's gentle, it actually is really powerful. We tend to look for phlegminess in the head. that it's a really good addition for that. That's all I can think of to say for it. I'm gonna say if you like patchouli,
Can I try
this.
some?
Oh yeah, that plant is patchouli if you want it.
So you said
This one's patchouli.
seizure disorders?
Yeah, I like the leaves. There's two different types of seizure disorders in herbal medicine. Generally, too. The root would probably be decent for you, and by itself, don't stop taking your.
Well, yeah, I can't just. No, that would be a bad thing.
That would be a bad choice. Yeah. So I hate to say it, I'm judging you totally that you're thin and wiry, and so you probably tend towards dry, and that's the roots moistening where the leaves are drying.
Okay.
So if you were super phlegmy, I'd say the leaves would do better.
Okay.
In your case, for somebody who tends towards drier, it's the joy of
Okay.
intake. I always just say rub this. Some people love patchouli. Some people hate patchouli. They like stab people. So I was like, scratch and sniff. It tastes terrible, by the way.
Oh, so good.
Keep you guys outside the bed. This is the end of the season for this.
All the time in cow pastures.
Yeah, it loves cow pastures.
I see that all the time.
This is probably in your backyard. If you like spicy, you're gonna like this. If you don't like spicy, don't eat it. And I would say it's, again, end of the season. I'll get it maybe through June. Every once in a while I luck out in July. So when you see the brown ones, those have already gone to seed. Those are no good. I'm gonna plant some more. But the green ones are the leaves, and what you'll get is, and you're like, first bite's sweet, and then the heat will start to ramp up, and you're like, oh, I hope this doesn't get too hot, and it'll just stop, and it goes away. So, enjoy leaf. So this is actually a Chinese herb, King Li Zi. This is poor man's pepper or pepper grass. It's a type of wild mustard.
He's like,
And so, it's just a yummy snack. I think, yeah, it's like throw it in soup, throw it in your salad, just eat it. It's a Chinese herb, grows all up and down the eastern seaboard, actually over most of the U.S. So you'll find some version of it. This one is Lepidium virginicus. And besides just yum, yeah, there's no shortage of it. It's used for a sticky cough with constipation. So if normally you have easy poop, you would actually eat, and all of a sudden you get sick, you get a cough, and it's this dry, sticky cough. You can't expectorate anything up. Eating enough of this will actually start to moisten up the lungs, but it'll also moisten the intestines to move the poop out. And so you have to get the bowels moving in order to resolve the cough. Crazy Chinese medicine, herbal stuff. But if any of you have like grandmother from Eastern Europe or something, mustard plasters were a very normal thing. They would use a white mustard or yellow mustard seed, grind it up, put it on your chest. They wouldn't even make you eat it. It sucked because it would make your chest blister. Sorry, I got green shit in my mouth. And so for us, we actually eat it. And if you think about it, you're like, well, that sounds crazy. If I snorted a line of cayenne pepper right now, what would happen? Snot would pour out of my face, right? I took an irritant in, my body's going to expel it. So if I take a wild mustard, an irritant, gentle, it's going to gently start to increase the mucus secretions on my mucous membranes. So when the chest goes, so do the intestines. And so very gently start to break up some of that phlegm, gently move the poop along. I got one right here. I was going to go dig one of the other ones up. Sorry, this one bites.
stinger?
No, this one's got a lot of thorns over here, but I was going to dig one up over there, but this guy's doing pretty good. This grows all up and down the eastern seaboard, probably out west. This is not Chinese. Later. So this one is
Salvia
lorata. Thank you. Oh my God, there's like a lorata in my head. I was like, so Salvia lorata, lyre leaf sage, and not lyre pants on fire. It's lyre as in like a cool little guitar looking thing. In Appalachian medicine, this had a different name. It was called cancerweed. And I got a fun little story with this one. So all parts are used. I was going to say, people use the roots. I just tend to use the leaves. Again, growing out of the cracks of sidewalks. This is also a type of mint. All your sages, salvias, are mints. And you can see the flower stalk is similar. Square stem again. A little bit more bitter. Again, no smell. You can eat a leaf if you want.
There's a moringa tree there too.
Yeah. And it's an interesting plant. I've learned this one a couple times. One of my informal, formal teachers, David Winston, teaches Cherokee medicine, Chinese medicine, eclectic medicine, way too much stuff. And there was, I think I learned it from him 20 years ago. Didn't know it grew in Florida until not too long ago. But I had a friend of mine. She was a single mom with 2 kids and redhead, so she had really fair skin. And she had already had one bout of skin cancer, and now it had come back, and she had to do the chemical peels, like she had for real skin cancer. So she's like, Bob, is there anything? I don't want to get my whole face ripped off. I was like, is there anything you can do to help? I was like, I went to go pick pawpaw fruit. And now I know where there's 1,000 plants, but I was like, back then I knew where there was one plant that I'd seen years and years ago out in the middle of the state, and it was in the Potts Preserve, which is by the near
With
Inverness. Huh?
With Lacucci River.
Yeah, with the Lacucci River. There you go. It's right on there. And so it was August, and I was like, come on, we're going to go. And I knew she couldn't afford regular treatment or anything. We went to go pick pawpaw. I was like, you got to bring tobacco as an offering. So her and her boyfriend and I all jump in the car. We go out there, and I had not seen this plant in years. And I was like, I'll get lost in the street. I can find my way through the woods. And so we had to walk about a mile or so to the place. You couldn't drive a car back there. And of course, we get out of the car, and mosquitoes just, August, Florida, center of the state, next to the river and the swamps. And it was really funny because I won't spray off on me. It's like neurotoxin. I get really sick from it. And so we all took, no, I don't have any here, beautyberry. And I was like, oh, wait, grab some beautyberry. And we'll stop by that. We rub it on. But every time we stopped, we figured out the mosquitoes would eat our backs, because always put your insect repellent on your friend, because you can't get your own back. So it was about a half a mile in. We're like, oh, we got to do this for each other. We're wiping each other down with beautyberry. And we get out there, and it was amazing. The plant was now about yay high. And we walk around this one corner, and it looked like a raccoon had come by and just broken off a piece of the branch. So it actually told us how much of the plant we needed to harvest. So that branch is like little thread, literally had happened within the last hour. Brought some tobacco, cut the little thread, we brought that, and in my mind there was 2 plants, and I didn't know what the other one was. And it was a long time ago, I was still trying to learn my plants. And David Winston always said, it's like, when you're looking for a plant to treat a specific person, nature will tell you. And you'll be walking through the woods and the plant will rattle at you. And so, if you pay attention, if you look around you, someplace, somewhere, there's going to be a plant that says, hey, pay attention to me, I'm going to tell you this is the medicine you need for this person. So I'm looking, and if you've ever walked around, just a dirt trail where you got the tire marks there, and then in the center median is, you can walk, but since nobody had driven there, it was like this high in bushes. So that was the place that was a little out of the water. So we're walking along there, and I'm running over the woods this way, nothing. Maybe the last 100 yards, we can see the entrance, and I was like, I know there's another plant here. And finally, this plant I had been kicking the entire way we had walked, the whole mile out there, was the cancerweed, and I didn't remember its name. I didn't remember water leaf sage. I was like, I know I've seen this one. Let's see if I can find a good example. There we go. And so the one that I passed around was all green. This one has a little bit of dark red on it, and some of them, they'll turn all the way red. She was anemic, right? She didn't have enough blood. So we have this term, doctrine of signatures, where if something looks like something, it's good for it. So things that were red were good for the blood. So what I did was, I was like, all right, we're going to just throw some tobacco down here, and we only picked the ones with red leaves. She came back, made a poultice, so just topical. We took the pawpaw leaves, we took these leaves. I still didn't know what it was. And so I went pawing through my notes, and I was like, found out it was called cancer weed. I was like, oh, hell yes. So she got better. She's still kicking around here somewhere. But it was shocking. She sent me, somewhere I have pictures of like this face mask of slime all over her face from this, with some castor oil. But it is, the more we pay attention, some of you were on the herb walk before, plants will literally grab you and throw you to the ground to make you pay attention. And the problem is we're so in our phones, in our heads, looking off in the wilds when it's literally at our feet. So paying attention is our friend.
Wow.
Let's go this way. I don't know where we're going.
Right here.
Hey, Alice. Good to see you. I'm recording him again.
I recorded the last one too.
Yeah, I'm going to send it to him.
Already, so is that.
It's this garden mellows me right out. There's the mama. Here, look, here's the mother. Right there. There she is.
Oh, how beautiful. That's the other one too, right? He's got two of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the other one too.
I will say, unless you really hate yourself, don't taste this. This is Andigraphis, so Xuanqin Lian. This is not native. All the other ones we looked at, I believe, are native. This one I planted, and I won't say it's invasive, but it's like it self-seeds itself. This is the most bitter herb that I've ever tasted in my life. And it lingers. It's very dry, very bitter, cold. And so like, if you eat this much, you'll hold on to this.
You say it's Huangliang?
No, this is Xuanqin Lian, the Andigraphis pedicularis.
Okay.
Yeah, it is so bitter. Feel free to hate yourself. And
Why not?
You're brave.
it is also probably one of the best antimicrobials I know.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I wouldn't taste it either.
Wow.
It's
Woo.
used as a digestive
Yeah.
bitter.
Ideal.
It's one of those herbs. I think I have one coming up. I guess I should know these things. I like to teach herb-drug interactions, and I like to teach both positive and negative.
I love it.
And we think about like, ooh, when we say like, ooh, don't do St. John's wort with whatever. And so whenever somebody says herb-drug interactions, we always have this negative image of what we're thinking about. And I really, my hope is, it's nasty.
Oh, sorry.
No, I already did it.
I did too. I was like, are you sure?
When I say it tastes like
I think
crap.
it's good.
I didn't even realize I was doing that.
What is the alkaloid in it?
No.
He's
It's
from Rosie.
graphites, I think. It's something stupid like that.
Yeah, rosaries.
But the reality is this makes antibiotics work better. And if we
Make
think about
rising
like,
kill your- your cousin
for too
Tony.
long we put half our antibiotics going to our cattle to make sure that they can come there. So a lot of our bacterial resistance that comes is actually through the feed for our animals, the factory farming of animals. But up until recent, I'm sure they still do it, but doctors have gotten a lot better. But you come in with clearly a viral disorder and they would give you an antibiotic and it doesn't work. And people would say, well, I feel better, so I stopped taking it. All of those things start to create really strong bacteria. And the Andigraphis is, I will give to people with their antibiotics in order to make the antibiotics work better. And so this is both antiviral, antimicrobial. It does come in as a pill. It has an affinity to the throat, so swollen glands, oh my God, I can't swallow, it hurts so bad. You don't want that. Take it as a pill, it's so bad. But it is dramatic how effective it is. It really is.
Tastes like golden seal almost.
Yeah, but it doesn't have any of the berberine in it. So no joy on that one. Let's get this guy. Wow, I don't usually get this far in
That was like flowers.
That's elderberry.
I have it everywhere in my yard.
Yeah, it's elderberry. Heck yeah. You have the mother lode then.
So for the botany geeks,
Yes, I have.
That is a
One flower.
Dioscorea. That's the purple Japanese yam, but that's a classic Dioscorea. But, oh no, there's one. All right. Sorry, there's some good stuff in here. I don't want to step on.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go for this.
Hey Maya, look baby. And a little nature walk.
It's like one.
Look baby.
So there are a number of lookalikes for this. This one is not a Florida native, but there is a Florida native species of this. This is Gotu Kola, Jishu South, Centella asiatica. The Florida version is Centella erectus, so it's a little, instead of being round, it's kind of oblong and grows that up more.
Oh.
There are a number of lookalikes.
Yeah.
So making sure you have the right one. This is, a lot of people know it for memory. Yes, it's good for memory. But not, oh, I'm going to grow, pinky in the brain. I'm not going to grow a super brain from this. Bob's personal opinion. Oh, let her through. She's coming through with good stuff. My personal belief is that it helps with the reducing inflammation in the brain. And so it is, for anybody, like, we all eat crap occasionally, right? And so a lot of times when you're getting brain fog from eating all the wrong stuff, this is your friend. It is specific for connective tissue disorders. So Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, EDS, fibromyalgia, it's okay. If you're getting any kind of pain from food, this frequently is helpful. And it is my number one go-to for autism. Like, literally, I start with this and then figure out what's going on. I've seen verbal and nonverbal autism. For whatever reason, they're okay eating it. And you can usually see a really significant change in angry outbursts, improvement in cognitive and communication and so forth. It's a vegetable, so it's hard to hurt anybody with this. So you can just eat it. Normal dosage is like 10 to 15 grams. Grab one, they're yummy. You can use up to 50 grams daily.
I'm just going to take a little bit.
Fresh or dried. Kind of tastes like lettuce to me. I don't know. I like it. What else do I like that for? Memory, connective tissue, EDS. Those are the biggies. Ooh, there's what I was looking for. That one's got thorns. I'm going to stay away from that. Do pay attention. If you eat that and it's spicy in your mouth, you got the wrong plant. You won't die from it, but it's just like, yeah, spit it out. There is all of the other lookalikes. Won't hurt you. They just taste different.
My mouth is still spicy from the andro.
Yeah, we just got here, so he was here too.
Dr. Bob's amazing.
Yeah.
Back to the Florida.
There she is.
So this is beautyberry, Calicarpia americana. This is a Chinese herb, zizu, and it's really funny. So this is, problem is you stop mowing your yard, this will show up, some bird will poop out the berries from it. My favorite use to this is insect repellent. And so, like, I don't know, the mosquitoes haven't really shown up, but they will. So just rubbing it on. If you're allergic to everything, just try a small area first. See if you're allergic to it. The downside of using a plant for insect repellent is if you sweat, it'll fall off, right? So you have to reapply often. It's like everywhere in Florida, you'll find this actually grows throughout the U.S. as far as I know, but all up and down the eastern seaboard. There's both kind of a purple berry as well as a white berry. The white berry is the Chinese version. This one's our native one, is purple. Everywhere you see, like, anybody writes about beautyberry, they're going to say, oh, you can make jam out of the berries. You can make jam out of poop. Enough sugar to it, it doesn't matter. So actually, I actually like the berries. Some plants taste better than others, But what's important is it has a light purple berry, and you see how these flowers, these are great examples, they tend to form in clumps along the stem. Like this will continue to grow out, so you'll have this tight little clump around the stem of these light purple berries. And I don't have any berries on the other one. Oak, which is poisonous, will have the large dark purple berries at the very end. So don't want to confuse those two. The leaves, everything about them is different. So where these flowers are, these will be fruit, and they'll form these nice clumps. You can totally eat the berry. Sugar's bad for you. Don't make jam. I don't care if you make jam. But the purple color in there is high in anthocyanins, which are particularly good for the circulatory system, and the eyes are very anti-inflammatory for that. So, you can just eat like a teaspoon of them. But I also feel like we eat with our eyes. And so adding just this pretty purple color to the plate is a nice way to just get some variety. We don't eat a lot of purple. We got eggplant and we're done, right? Maybe some cabbage. Buy the right kind. And so every time we miss a color, we're actually losing nutrients. It's rather than saying, "Ooh, this is a superfood," or everybody needs that. It's like everybody needs the rainbow. We need to eat as much variety in colors and as much variety in flavors as we can. Half the stuff I gave you all is bitter, nasty. We have two flavors in Western culture. We have sweet and salty, right? We have mashed potatoes and potato chips, right? And that's really the only two flavors. When we start to look at other cultures, they have sour, fermented foods, or things like sorrel. They've got bitter, like for most cultures, what we just ate was like, whatever. And so that bitter is specific for antimicrobial. It's really good for stimulating the digestion so that we can better digest our foods and break it down. And it has unique chemicals in there that we need for our nutrients. So eating a variety of flavors, weird tasting berries is a good way to do that sometimes. I forgot, the roots of this also contain an alkaloid that's used to paralyze the lungs of fish. And so if you've ever seen the indigenous people like mashing on some roots and all the fish float up in a pond, this is one of many. There's actually at least 3 plants in here that are used for that. Most of the plants that are used to paralyze fish are also used for a cough. So this is used for a wet cough. So it'll settle down a cough at night, but it's also antimicrobial. So the roots have more of the chemical to paralyze the fish. The leaves we make tea out of, and it's better for that wet cough. Let's find one more plant. No, we did that. Let's do this one. I like this plant. It's not in bloom, but who cares? So this is spiderwort, and it normally has some little purple blue flowers. I'm really into purple today, obviously. So all of this plant can be eaten. I don't like the brown ones. Those don't taste good. They're just kind of dry and crumbly. But all the little flower pods, you can eat. You can eat them, but they're just rough. I like the small tender leaves. Or you can strip it down and peel off the outside. Everybody's like, aloe, aloe, aloe. This is so much better than aloe and all the same properties. And you can see when I get to this, how slimy. Yeah, this is a weed. Yeah, and it's a pretty weed. If you put little pine cones around it, then codes enforcement doesn't hassle you. So this stickiness, so it's cold, like literally my fingers are cold right now. So you can play with those. Feel free to nibble. Sorry it doesn't have the pretty purple color on it. It has a snail on it. Put the snail back. So the slimy stuff in here, aloe's great, and it's fairly easy to grow. But with aloe, a couple things happen. A, if you get into the green part in the aloe, cramping explosive diarrhea. So that's your jam. It's really easy to do with that. But there's a downside to the aloe gel even. We put it on our skin if we get a burn or something. It soothes our throat. It actually coats our throat and forms a protective barrier on our skin, but also in our intestines and our stomach. It will block the absorption of nutrients and medications. And so if you're like, no, but aloe is the only thing that keeps me alive, separate it from your supplements. Like do that 2 hours before you eat, 2 hours before your medications, 2 hours after. This doesn't do that. It doesn't block, so it cools, moistens, and soothes, but it doesn't form that protective barrier that blocks the absorption of your nutrients. So this one's way safer. And you don't have to worry about the green part. It's totally fine. I like it for burns. I like it for a snack. I like it for the purple flowers. Anybody who's having hot flashes or hot in the summer, don't have enough moisture, very refreshing and moistening just to eat these.
Yin building?
Very yin building. Clear heat, nourishing, without a doubt. And I would say there's an argument for Shen calming because of the purple color. Yeah. All right, let's do one more. I'm going to go in the... I walk around trying to find cool plants, so.
Oh, yeah, love that.
So if you lived up north, you know this plant. I don't know why little kids are really destructive, but I remember as a kid loving to pull these leaves out, and I was like just torturing the plants, pulling these out. So this is a key characteristic of it. Very pronounced ribs in the leaf here. This is plantain, not plantain the banana, but plantago, which is a weed. Like that's about as big as it gets. This is Plantago major. This is a European invasive, but now is kind of naturalized throughout the U.S. Really common up north. Kind of rare in Florida, like this south of Gainesville. You don't find it very often. Like I used to have hidden spots, but now I've propagated the crap out of it around here. We have we actually have a couple Florida native ones, but the Florida ones tend to only come out some of the year. So I'm literally hoping there's some seeds in here. There they are. So those are the seeds. So this is the flower stalk here. So it's a key identifier is this really cool flower stalk. So, all right, nobody needs to fess up, but psyllium, right? We go to the CVS, we buy some psyllium husk for some fiber that'll help us with constipation or diarrhea. It comes from a very specific plantago. Psyllium is Plantago psyllium. So it's the seeds of this related plant that they use for fiber, and like your doctor says, go get some fiber. I always recommend this. The Chinese, we use a Chinese varietal, again of the seeds, as a very mild diuretic, very soothing to the urinary tract, increases urination. And then the leaves are what we call a pot herb. Sorry, I'm gonna plant some more of these. That's the way I plant everything. So the leaves are a pot herb, i.e. pick them and throw them in a pot and chew them up. So you can cook them just as a cooked green. You can use this for any kind of non-healing wound. And I say that, we always think of non-healing wounds as on our body. And so it is good for that. It's called a spit poultice. You don't have to spit to do it. You can mash it up like this. It's a little cleaner. We got dirtier mouths than dogs. So see how juicy that is? So you want to get that juiciness. If you're going to use this fresh for burns, it's antimicrobial, but it also speeds healing. And there's a bunch of herbs we like to use for that. But a lot of people talk about comfrey. Comfrey is a great herb, except you can't use it for any kind of deep or large wound. So comfrey actually stimulates the growth of the skin so fast that if you have a puncture wound, it will actually grow over the top of the wound, trap the bacteria in there, and you get a horrible infection. This tends to pull things out of the wound. I know that's weird, but it does. It pulls gravel and dirt and stuff out, but it starts to heal from the inside of the wound out. That's why there's lots of herbs we can do that with, but
It's great for a bee sting.
yeah, any kind of bee stings, bites, anything like that, and really getting it juicy like this, you're not wrong to just squeeze out the juice like that. I don't even think we watered today either. That's some good stuff right there. I will never get any diseases on my hand. So I have, I'm an acupuncturist, mostly do herbs
Can
here.
you share some of that?
Oh, yeah, here. Have at it. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just sitting here playing with it. There. Now you can identify it. Pass it around. You can nibble on that, knock the dirt off the back of it.
Anything,
I'll grind up the dried leaf of that along with frankincense. Oh my God, I forgot. Angelica root, Angelica donguai, and astragalus root. Kind of in almost equal. I usually go like one half of it will be the plantain and just a pinch of the other ones. Astragalus is huang qi. I grind that up, and I don't know why they do it, but I have people. If you have somebody with diabetic ulcers, an elderly person who has bed sores, where they're going to a wound care every 2 weeks, and they're literally, the wound gets a little bit worse every few weeks. They pull out the antibiotic-soaked cotton, they scrape it out, everybody's screaming, they repack it, and they just go back every few weeks, and it never gets better. And I remember the first time I did it, I was like, with the patient's permission, I was like, hey, you can try this. I was like, I'm not trained in wound care in that way. So I was like, I ground it up. I was like, take this to your wound care clinic, see if they'll pack your wound with it. I don't know why they did, but I applaud them, because within about 3 months, that wound finally started to heal for the first time. I've done that enough times now that I feel a little bit more confident. I just want somebody other than me packing the wounds. And so it's one of those things, like, non-healing wounds isn't new. Infection isn't new. We've had that going on for thousands of years. And so there's so many herbs, but more importantly, not the herbs so much as the combination of herbs based on a specific pattern. And you notice I said things like that andrographis, sore, swollen, painful throat. The plantain, non-healing wounds. The something else over there, it was like the root was better for dry conditions, the leaf was better for wet conditions. So it's being able to match the herb up with the individual or the issues, or combining the herbs together. That's where the magic happens with herbs, rather than Google. Google will get you into trouble. I mean, it's fine if, I always say, none of you, well, some of you may have, but like, even if you've had no medical training, most of us can go into CVS and buy an ibuprofen or a Motrin and get some Band-Aids and whatever. No training whatsoever. We take care of our day-to-day bumps, bruises, scratches, and headaches. But we still go to the doctor when you need stitches. You still go to the doctor if your appendix bursts, if you get hit by a car. We need something more than what we can do for ourselves in CVS. Herbal medicine was the same thing. It used to be everybody's grandmother could walk out into the backyard, because there was no CVS. And they could pick up a few plants, mash them up, or feed some nasty brew to their kids, and take care of all of the day-to-day illnesses. But then there was always, I always say, I've been to South America a couple of times. The first time I was in Peru, it was the first time I went to on the Amazon, and we went started in Iquitos and we went 5 days upstream, where at the end of the last day was the last electricity that anybody had. And as we got up there, you watched, like, Iquitos is this fascinating town where there's like barbed wire, broken glass in the room. Everybody's walking around with machine guns. This was 25 years ago. Maybe the same, I don't know. And as we went away from that, we went upstream, and all of a sudden you saw the fences go away, you saw the walls go away, to where it was just a thatched hut up off the ground because the river floods, and there was just a little privacy wall. And their garden was always this perfectly manicured little plot of different plants that they would use for food. But in front of every house there was what looked like a little rectangular garden patch, but it was all full of weeds. It was just like, looked like that. And I asked my guide, and he was an herbalist, and I was like, all right, I would eat off their dirt floors, but what's up with that? And he was like, that's their medicine cabinet. And so the idea that for every parent, they knew how to treat their illnesses. That's what everybody knows, just like we know CVS. But within every group of families, there was always somebody who would help deliver babies, take care of more severe illnesses. And then within a day's paddle on the river, there was a shaman. And that would take care of the more complex illness, the more spiritual kind of diseases. And you could travel there to get the healing if you needed it. And we just forgot all of it. And it's one of the reasons, like, yeah, I'm helping Tracy out, trying to bring a few extra bodies out to the drum circle early. But more importantly, I do these herb walks because I although I hope you all become crazy wild foragers, what I want is for people to recognize there's medicine everywhere. And you said,
Yeah.
I stopped mowing my yard, I figured out the damn plant. Like, no, we all
I mow
should do
the
that.
apothecary.
Right? We all should start to, like, stop mowing your backyard, your front yard. Codes enforcement will bust you. or hack a path through it. But no one should ever go hungry. We are surrounded by food. Like I look at more medicine, but if you just like these weeds here, like that's obviously weeds. We've got the plantain. This is oxalis. Remember I said flavors? Yummy sour flavor. And so it's not a clover.
Vitamin C.
Yeah, high in vitamin C. Let's see what else is down here. So, and the bigger ones actually are even more sour.
I have a ton of it at home.
Yeah.
And if you hold the little thing, the little seed pod will do some cool things if you find them in the right. They like. But have you ever seen where they pop open and they like spray? It's like yeah.
That's really funny.
That's why I have it everywhere.
So this is bitter melon, but this is Biden's alba. This is the oh my God, common name. You just forgot it. Beggar's tick.
Spanish needle.
Spanish needle, and it doesn't have the flower on it. It normally has the. I'm looking for a good.
There's
flower.
one.
There's a good flower. So this, yeah, I know you all know this. This is a weed in your yard, and bident, two-tooth, white flower, alba. This is it before it goes to flower. This is a vegetable. This is a medicine. So if you taste that, it'll be mildly bitter. But literally, you're spending hours, and these are volunteers. I know you know this one.
Thanks.
You spend hours pulling these out of your garden, and these are volunteers
Here
to
you
the plate.
go.
This is the good one. Shenfeng Sao. This is the Chinese one. So this we can cook up like spinach. Just as nutritious, if not more so than spinach. Chronic Lyme disease, lingering cough after a cold and flu with clear white phlegm. It's a vegetable that we can eat as much as we want. So it's about us recognizing what's here. Whatever your ailment is, the medicine's here. We just forgot. You know, we're like, we love our Chinese medicine-y stuff. But that came from China. What did the people here use? Right. Chinese were smart, they wrote shit down. Here was a spoken language, so as we destroyed the indigenous culture, we lost the language. And so we lost the knowledge. And so we can find it from a variety of different ways. I always say, I like the Cherokee Nation. Around the early 1700s, they figured out that the strength of the Europeans coming over wasn't their guns. They wrote shit down. And so they created a language. So if you go up to Cherokee, North Carolina, you see weird squiggly lines. One of their chiefs there said, like, I'm going to create a language for the Cherokee so we can preserve our culture. And like, amazing. And only a few people can still read it. So I'm going to hang out because I enjoy the drum circle. I'm going to hang out for a while. I forgot to say this in the beginning. Go back and find one of the plants that spoke to you. Totally okay. Snap off a piece. I usually hang out by the kava. Just inhaled that leaf. And just make sure you got the right one. Then it's the weekend. Go find the plant again tomorrow. Go to a park, go in your yard, find it again on your own tomorrow. You'll own the plant. You'll see that plant everywhere. Just one. If you're Einstein, learn two. Then try every month to find an herb walk. Well, you know, the parks offer them. There's other people in the community that do herb walks wherever you live. Find those people, learn one plant every month. Before you know it, you can do your own herb walks. The plants, you know, my one caution on plants, don't use plant apps, and anything that has a white sap, don't eat that. I know there's lots of plants with white sap, but half of them will literally kill you, like quickly. So most of them are very safe, very easy. Cooking destroys a lot of poison, so if you're not positive, cook it. And I hope you always enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay.